Everybody. Welcome to Sad Panda Presents. This is a podcast about music, and we're going to discuss some different albums that we're listening to. Right now, we are going through the staff pick list on the consequenceofsound.net, and today we are listening to Neil Young's Harvest, which is number
82?
82. No, it's 81.
Damn it.
Was 82.
Damn it.
Yeah, I was drawing that out so that I could pull up Consequence of Sound.
This one's after the break. This one leads into the break, right? So yay.
This one does lead into the break.
Fantastic. Yes. Also, I'm Shane. Hi. You know me.
I'm Drewski.
Anyway, yeah. So this is a good album. I like it. It's kind of weird.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
It was, I didn't realize that I knew more of the songs that I thought I was gonna know. Thanks to, I have an uncle who, this is Shane, I'm jumping right into the intro.
Yeah.
I have an uncle, Fred, who's, we call him Dirty Fred, cause he used to be kind of a bard, and he would that's how he got through college, was playing music and stuff like that. And, when he plays for family and stuff, he always plays 3 of these songs on the album, and I didn't realize that the 3 Neil Young songs that he plays are on the same album. so I knew more about this album than I thought I was gonna know.
Yeah, so I imagine the 3 songs you're familiar with are the 3 songs that I'm most familiar with as well. So I'm a little less familiar than I thought I was going into this because my dad had this album, and so I've heard it before, but he must have pick and chose his the songs that he liked on it and skipped through some of the other stuff because there was a couple of songs on here that I was just like, this doesn't sound all that familiar. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's just one of those things.
Well, I think your dad and my Uncle Fred are about the same age. I want to say because they both went to Vietnam, right? And I want to say they're about in that same age, and they both play guitar. So your dad is like my Uncle Fred, you know what I mean? So this is my introduction to good music, because Uncle Fred. Well, Uncle Fred also played some, let's call it uncouth songs.
Yeah.
And played a lot of David Allan Coe that I didn't, when I was 11 years old, I was like, holy shit, that's a real song. Yeah. Anyway, but before we get into that, what's up with you, Andrew? How's life treating you?
Things are pretty good. Kirsten came up last week, and I took her to go see her parents in Michigan over the weekend. And I found out that the little small town that she comes from, it's tiny. You can pretty much walk the town in no time. It's crazy small. Anyway, I found what I think is obviously she's my favorite thing to come out of Michigan, but I found what is probably my favorite tradition that this town does. So we were walking around, we were walking from her parents' house towards downtown, and there's all these people lined up on the main drag of the street, and we're like, oh shit, there must be some kind of parade or something, but none of the streets are closed off or anything like that. So we asked somebody, and they're like, yeah, it's a truck parade. I'm just like,
go on.
What the fuck is a truck parade? And they're like, yeah, there's just gonna be 30 or 40 trucks that roll through. They start somewhere out of town, and they roll through right around sundown. And I'm like, okay, fine, sure, whatever. And so we walk around for a little while, and finally this thing starts. Well, I didn't put together when they said trucks, it meant big rigs, 18-wheelers. So right around dusk, 40 fucking 18-wheelers come rolling through town, just horns blaring and just all in full glory, going 10 miles an hour. It was fucking great. I was giddy. I was just oh my god, this is this is so white trash. It reminds me of home. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'd never heard of this thing before, so I was ecstatic. I learned something new.
That reminds me of living in Lakey. In Lakey, they had a thing similar to that, which was it was a car show. Consisted of 4 people with their cars. This was also the town that had 2 cops, and they patrolled about 100-mile radius.
Okay.
One of them was an older man, and he went to bed at 8.
Oh.
And the other cop got busted cheating by his wife, so he had to be home by 10 o'clock no matter what. So
That's
pretty
awesome.
much anything after 10 o'clock, you could do whatever. It's fine.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, right on. That's a fun story.
Yeah,
So
man.
she lived in like a, well, I guess nobody will get it listening, but like all a Dulce kind of thing, like there's only like a stoplight kind of thing.
Well, I mean,
Like a Driscoll, if you will.
it's not quite, as small as like Driscoll, I don't think. But there's a few thousand people here. Let me see if I can, it's very quaint. Like there's a cute little downtown area that's actually like alive and well and shit like that. There are, according to Google, 8,500 people that live here.
Oh, so like Bishop, but it had like a good downtown.
Yeah, that's
I got
exactly
you.
right. Yeah.
Okay, alright. Anybody listening has no idea what the fuck we're talking about, but just Google South Texas towns and like Bishop, like Cable and Bishop, just Bishop, Texas.
Yeah.
You'll get it. And I don't want to divulge
So-
where your old lady's from, but that's fun. That's fun. That's cool.
Yeah. It was cool. So, I was fucking giddy, man. Like, I was cracking the fuck up. Like the whole time. It was so good.
That's fucking awesome. F&A, man.
So what about you, man?
Excited
How's
for
your
you.
week been?
Oh, not a lot of, I got a new job and,
Okay.
I'm learning about medical insurance.
All right.
So that's fun. Medical insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
That pretty
you're
much sums it up.
learning how to tell people to fuck off then, basically.
No.
Because
No.
every time I've ever talked to my medical insurance companies, they're like, there's always like, some kind of thing where we're just not going to pay for that. So, fuck off. So,
I don't know. Well, I don't know. The thing that I've learned is that medical insurance won't pay for anything unless it's medically necessary. That's kind of like the key phrase. Is it medically necessary? So, like, do you need this? Is it medically necessary? Then if it's not medically necessary, then we're gonna straight up deny that shit. Essentially.
yeah, but I mean, like, the thing is there's different tiers of medical insurance. So, like,
Oh, that's on your HR, dog. I'm working for a company that does medical insurance.
no,
Whether
I get what
you're-
you're saying. But I mean, like, I don't know. I pay for the higher tier of medical insurance for my company. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, it's not just, is it medically necessary? It's also, well, did you go to the right place?
Oh yeah, you have to be. Oh, you always go. You always go in
So-
network. You always go in network. You don't fuck around
but-
and go out of network.
Yeah, no, I get that now, but it's just like, you can't go to anybody private because they're just like, we don't cover anything done by anyone private. Fuck you. I'm like, all right, whatever.
What you can do is you can ask for your primary care person to give you a referral to that person, and if he accepts it, then it'll be just like it's a network. All you gotta do is talk to your doctor. Talk to your normal doctor. And like, hey man, I want to go to this guy. Could you?
I don't have a normal doctor. I'm talking more like, dental work and,
dental, no, that's carve out. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Dental's,
yeah.
That's not my field. Like, we're doing the medical side. Like, with dental, that's a whole other animal.
It's a whole different company. Talking about, I get that.
That's D-O-N-A, man. Or D-N-O-A.
I don't know. It's a thing. And it's like, I don't know. It's a thing. And, yeah. Like, Halo Flight isn't always covered by your...
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Ambulatory services, yes it is. If you absolutely need a fucking ambulance.
Well, I got Halo Flight one time and they paid for about 10% of that shit. Yeah. Which is why Halo Flight insurance is a separate thing. And you should buy it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you can buy separate Halo Flight insurance. Yes, you can, son. Look it up.
Well, it depends on your carrier and all that kind of stuff.
And the reason is because, like the insurance company that I had when I was, 17, or whenever I got in that car accident, they paid for like 10% of that fucking Halo Flight bill. And the rest was on us. And they said, fuck you. And it was absolutely medically necessary. So.
You know what? I just got a new job. I don't want to fucking talk about work. When I'm at work already. God damn it.
I'm just telling you I was just telling you what my experience was. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. You know why? Cause nobody has a good fucking insurance experience.
You're right.
No one does. Like, nobody's like, hey, you know what? My insurance is great. I had a great time. They never fucked me.
Because it's a business and they are out to make money and so they don't like to pay money. I mean, it's how businesses work.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. It's like, think of it like a pizza delivery service. 9 times out of 10, they give you your pizza, right, and it's 100% fine. You get that one fuck up, and it fucks up your day. And then you never order from Domino's ever again, or fucking Papa John's, or whatever the fuck. The one time they fuck it up, like, everybody throws a fit.
Yeah, it is what it is. So Neil Young.
Anyway. Yeah, we're here for a reason, and it's Neil Young.
Right.
Anyway. Alright, so we're getting into this?
Yeah.
Alright. So, this is Harvest is the 4th album by Neil Young. It was released in, February of 1972, which was also the best-selling album of 1972.
Mm-hmm.
There were 2 different songs that hit, Heart of Gold hit number 1, and then Old Man hit number 31 on the top 200, 100 charts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things. He also had everybody from Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or obviously because Young, but Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young broke up in the 70s, but he had each and every one of them on this album for one part or another. He also had James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, okay.
Who did a lot of auxiliary work and stuff like that, who were in the background kind of thing.
Right.
What else? Oh, here's a fun story about this. Here's a fun story about this album.
Okay.
Actually I've got 2 of them. One of them I didn't realize that Neil Young he had a bunch of like surgeries during the like recording of this album.
Huh.
So like he couldn't like belt out a lot of things. Like he couldn't play the guitar, like hammer it down and like really gush into the guitar because he just physically couldn't.
Okay.
Like because he was on like physical therapy and like he could only walk like 400 yards a day. Like
Shit, okay.
Cause he had like, I think it was like something like I think he busted some ribs and a vertebrae in his back.
Fucking
So like he had like a back brace and like he could barely hold a guitar kind of thing.
Huh.
So, like, that's what kind of contributes to the softer sound of this whole album, is because he physically couldn't belt it out.
Interesting. Yeah, that's neat.
Cause Crosby had to hold his hand and like help him out while he was walking, like trying to get better and like rehabilitate and that kind of stuff. So that attributes to a lot of the, kind of the softer sounds of this album.
Okay.
And then, oh, also another fun story is, in the, when they were mixing, like when they were actually putting doing the mixing for this album, what happened was the guy who was like the lead into mixing, like he was like making it all happen. What he did is that, he plugged the album he put all of the left channel speakers into the house speakers that were going outside.
Okay.
And then all the right channel into the barn. And then what they would do is they would sit out in the middle of their field, like, think of like a theater seating, like in a movie theater.
Right.
And you're like dead center.
Yeah.
So in the house on the left were speakers, and in the barn on the right, there were speakers. And then you sit in the middle and like try to hear it all.
Yeah, yeah.
So like they blared that shit together. And so it was, so Neil and Crosby and whoever was around, they'd sit out in the middle of this field, like, listening to the songs, like, hey, more barn! More barn! More barn! less house! More barn! Less house! Tone the barn down a little bit, turn the house up a little more, like.
Fucking A, man, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So those are all the fun stories that I've picked through for this album.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. That's fun things to do.
Yeah, for sure. That would be a really fun way to do, anything.
Kind of anything, right? Wouldn't that be funny? Like.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a blast.
Alright. Tone down the trampoline. Turn it up on the beer pong. Turn up the beer pong. Turn down the trampoline.
Like, have the same audio setup, but also have like a 200-inch like projector screen in between them and play video games that way, like Mario Kart and shit like that. Fuck yeah, man.
I don't know. That's a thing that I'm gonna use when it's quiet on the right hand side. Hey man, more barn. Can I get some more barn?
Nobody's gonna know what the fuck you're talking about. Who is this fucking madman that keeps yelling more barn at me?
Like a psychopath.
This dude must be like Christopher Walken's nephew or some shit.
This fucking guy. I don't need the cowbell. I need the barn.
I need the whole goddamn barn.
I need the whole barn, man.
Okay.
Anyway. Alright, Bowen. So let's get into, let's start with the beginning. And that is the, out of the Weekend.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
I like this song. It's slow toned, the harmonica love the harmonica. Man, every time you throw a harmonica in there, I'm a big fan of it.
Okay.
It has that sad, like, steel guitar, but, it's very vulnerable feeling. Like, throughout this whole album, he's very vulnerable and open.
For sure.
Like, he's very, but also with that, I feel like throughout this entire album, there's a theme of like isolationists and, kind of just being depressed and being alone. Like he doesn't know how to connect.
For sure. I get that.
Do you feel the same, like throughout this entire album?
Yeah. A lot of these songs are about being fucking lonely. And not, or feeling like you're not connecting with the world in some way, shape, or form, or being misunderstood or something like that.
Yeah, that's very heavy on this entire album. Is just, I feel like he's a young man who made a lot of money real quick. and then now doesn't know how to connect to like real people,
Right.
or even know who he is himself.
Yeah, in some ways,
And
I would
so
say I would agree with you there. Yeah.
I feel like this is him lamenting like that he doesn't know who he is, and just he's trying to get back into what humanity, like what people are, if you will.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know. I also enjoyed this song. There's something fucky with my Spotify where it won't play shit in order anymore. So I don't know. So I'm listening to this album and it's entirely, randomized the entire time I'm listening to it, but whatever. Yeah, I liked this song. I really liked, I really liked the chorus, or the pre-chorus maybe is what it is. You know, the woman I'm thinking of, she loved me all up. I fucking love that. Just that little, stanza of lines right there. I don't know. This fucking song, like, so, you know, I'm not usually one to like really, go after lyrical content and stuff, but with Neil Young, you know, it's so easy to just listen. He's so vocal heavy and, well, that's not necessarily true, but it's just, he's got such a clear voice. I've always liked Neil Young's voice. He's one of those guys that can get kind of nasally sometimes, but I enjoy it. I just like his voice. So I do get into the lyrics in a lot of these songs. And I just really liked this song lyrically and musically too, but it was a good one. I liked it.
I'm glad you brought up his voice, cause it took me a minute to get into it.
It's very unique.
It is very unique, but it's like Tom York for me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I didn't like Tom York until I liked Tom York. It took me a minute to like really get past like, okay, he sounds weird, but he does have a good voice. And it's the same thing with Neil Young. Like, he does have a really, really good voice. And later in the album, like, he really does, like, he just belts some shit out and does a really good job vocally.
I agree.
But Out of the Weekend, it's a good song about just kind of like, I don't know, he doesn't feel like he's fitting in, and then he has a girl, but it's only this and there, like, I don't know. He just doesn't feel, he feels like out of place, is what I get, is the point, the kind of the gist of this song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he's in with this girl, but they're not necessarily, a part of each other's lives, you know, to the extent of, you know, like being truly with each other, like for life. Like they're not at marriage level by any stretch of the imagination. You know, maybe it was a fling or something, who knows, but,
it's kind of like a on and off, like it is when it is, when it's not, it's not.
Right. So.
And just kind of like passe kind of thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just, it's very reminiscent, and it's, I don't know. I just get connected with me and on a level.
I just really think that this sets the tone for the entire album, because this album does deal with things like isolation and just loneliness.
Right.
Like that's a common theme throughout this entire album. And then this sets the tone for what will happen next. Because there is this out of place kind of thing.
Yeah, and it does. I wish I had, you know, really taken the time to listen to this in order, because this does set up for the next song really well. And the next song is Harvest.
Is Harvest, the title track.
Yeah.
So this, yes, I like this song. Go ahead, no.
Oh, okay.
You take the lead. Go on.
Yeah, this song kind of switches the perspective a little bit. Now he's more talking about, I mean, I'm not going to say, okay, switches the perspective might be a bad way of putting it, but he's talking more about a girl herself. You know, like, you know, like with the line, dream up, let me fill your cup with the promise of a man. Like, so there's this girl and, you know, she might be walking with the boys, but it's not hand in hand. And like, so she's not necessarily with any of these friends of hers, you know, but at the same time, like, there's somebody that's longing for her, in the background that's not necessarily a part of this group or whatever, that's isolated. Again, we visit that theme. So it's an interesting change of perspective where it's not like, okay, the thoughts of a lonely boy, it's the perspective of, okay, well, maybe the outside looking in of there's this girl and there's this lonely boy, and it's not necessarily from either of their perspectives, but it's kind of a third person view, maybe? Something like that?
Well, I'm gonna start with the music.
Okay.
As far as the music sounds. Like, it has this cool waltz sound.
Right.
That I really like. It has a cool, kind of somber waltz sound, and with a slight of hopefulness.
Okay, yeah.
But what I perceived this song to be was he was having 3 different conversations.
Oh, okay.
Was that at the first part, he's talking about an unsteady mother. Like, that's, like, the first verse was about, you know, your mom, like, I saw you through the window or whatever. And that's about, the mom doing something, I don't want to say she was a whore, but, not a whore, but
you're kind of a whore.
Kind of a whore. Kind of a whore. was like the mom talking, like, he's viewing this through the window of her mom screaming in the rain, and then her daughter seeing that.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, that's the first movement of this song was of an unsteady mother. And the next part, what you're talking about, she's, you know, has the hands, but nobody's grabbing them or whatever. And that's her, like, promiscuity, but the blackface is, like, her in shadow. Like, all the guys like her, and she might fuck a guy or two, but she doesn't know herself because of, and like, I'm gonna tell you a dream of a man. These are empty promises of the knight in shining armor. Mm. If that makes sense. That's what I feel like the chorus is about. I will tell you the story of a man or whatever, promise you of a man.
Okay.
And those are empty promises of your knight in shining armor.
Okay.
And then the last one was, of him talking, of being like a mentor to like his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Like seeing these women, and then he's talking to his daughter, and he doesn't know if he can be the person that his daughter needs him to be.
Right.
You know, will you love too much? Well, I know how to handle it. Like, I don't know what to do kind of thing. It's just the hesitation of can I be a good father?
Right. Okay.
After seeing this busted relationship with a mother and daughter who are making ends meet kind of thing, but through the power of other men.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like,
how did you feel about this song?
It's, like I said, it's a good somber but hopeful song, but
right.
It's kind of, it leads, I don't know, it's,
I kind of left off on this one as like, it's okay.
Oh, just as a song as a whole?
Yeah.
As a whole, it got me thinking a lot.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, like, the sound's good.
Right.
Like, I like the sound, and I think what he does with what he's saying works very well. And it's probably one of the better songs on the album.
Oh, okay. This was kind of middle of the road for me, yeah.
Oh no, I just, I mean, the main line, can I harvest, would you give me affection, and do I know how to harvest it?
Right.
Like, or can I harvest it? It's really good. I think this is one of the better songs on the album.
Okay.
Just because it's so textured. Because there's so many things going on throughout the conversation. I mean, the music as itself is, you know, it does have like, it sets a point and it doesn't deviate from it.
Right.
But what is going on in the song is very textured, like lyrically.
I'll give you that, yeah. Okay.
And that's what I like about that. Honestly, that's what I like about this album. It's lyric heavy. This is a poet that put music to it.
Very much so, yeah.
And that's why I don't know. I like this better than I thought because he is a poet and he's writing, he's writing words.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell a story and stuff like that.
No, I mean, Neil Young is, fucking great. He's fucking great.
Yeah. Again, this is my introduction into him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm kind of blown away by this album.
Yeah, this album, so this album was, well, there's a couple of things that were surprising to me on this album. Not so much these first songs, but if we move to the next song, A Man Needs a Maid, this is the first time on this album that we meet the, London Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, we do.
And
yes, we do.
So when I heard the fucking orchestra opening of a couple of these songs, I was just like, what the fuck? I don't remember this. Like, that's where it hit me like, oh, maybe I'm not as familiar with this album as I thought I was. Like, these first two songs, I'm like, okay, these are Neil Young songs. I've heard these before. This A Man Needs a Maid hit me and I was like, I don't know if I've heard this song before.
Yeah, cause this song has a huge sound and it like breaks, this is what, for me, this what breaks the album.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, like, there's a whole fucking orchestra, dude. They have the chime bells and they have like, oh my god, like, cause again, it's about this loneliness, like, you know, the themes of loneliness and isolation, which he fucking pretty much makes it very clear in the opening lines.
Right.
And then holy shit, and the whole, a man needs a man.
Yeah.
And then the whole wall of sound behind that, like, holy crap.
Yeah,
like,
dude, he's belting it out in this chorus, as much as he can, you know, considering his condition, which I wasn't aware of, but, he's belting it out in this chorus, you know, and yeah, like this song, like really, I was taken aback when I heard I'm not sure which orchestra song I heard first, but when I heard the fucking full orchestra come in, I was like, what the fuck? Like I was not expecting that. Took me totally out of my element. But I don't know. I thought this song is, like you said, there's a wall of sound here. It's huge. This song is fucking massive. Not lengthwise, but just in sound. This song is fucking massive.
Intensity.
It's intense. Yeah. It's got soft. It's got huge booming loud. It's all over the place and it's a really good song. It wasn't really the song for me. I gotta say, you know,
this is what I
go
feel.
Ahead.
I feel like he just had a bad breakup.
Yeah.
And what he wants is someone to cook and clean for him.
Right.
And he wants, he just wants to be reclusive.
Yeah. He doesn't want to leave the fucking house.
He don't want to leave the house.
So
he just wants to crawl into a hole and have somebody cook and clean for him so he can be the shitball fucking like.
So he can just fucking live in his little hole and be alone like he wants to be.
Yeah, and be in a hovel cause he's all busted up and he doesn't want to deal with reality.
Right.
And doesn't want to get out. And that's pretty much, this is a bad breakup song, super misogynistically done.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I don't know, like, I guess I had a hard time connecting with it because I'm also a homebody, but for very different reasons. So, it's not crippling loneliness that keeps me home alone at night. It's the fact that I just don't fucking like the people in this town. Like I don't have a network of, and that's a little harsh. I guess I should clarify. I don't really have a network of friends here in this town. This is one of the reasons I'm trying to fucking relocate back to Texas, so that I can be around my people again. but, I stay to myself because I have my own hobbies with the guitars and stuff and, with the podcast, and although that doesn't eat up that much time because we only do this, every couple of weeks, but, it's just, it's not crippling loneliness that keeps me indoors. It's, mild alcoholism and, and just not having a social circle, that's not online.
Well,
my social circle is online and over the phone, so.
Yeah. Well, to peek behind the curtain, we were supposed to have a good friend of ours
right.
come on this episode.
Right.
And, I was gonna make the joke that she is the maid.
Oh, you're a dick.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna slap for it, but worth it.
Anyway, yeah. Well,
moving on.
Well, if she listens to the,
but she had to take
if she listens to the episode, then she can come home and slap you later.
Yeah, but she had to take a test to improve her quality of life. To get her own job, I guess. She has to do stuff. Whatever. I don't know.
Hey man, y'all both graduated this year, so I'm proud of you too.
Oh, also, you know what happened today? Or yesterday? 2 days ago?
Yeah?
I got my degree in the mail.
Nice.
I'm bona fide.
Genuine bona fide.
I was too lazy to go 10 miles down the road to pick up my degree. So they mailed that shit to me. All right. Yay! And welcome.
So we have a special guest joining us now. What's up, Tasha?
Hi. I'm sorry, I just took a test. I just finished taking a test.
That's okay.
100 question multiple choice, question test. Yeah.
And I was just talking shit about Tasha has to take a test if she wants to improve her quality of life. She can't be on the show.
I'm just trying to live my best life.
You do you, boo. You do you.
Always. Someone's gotta do it.
You're right. Alright, so since we're busting in the middle, what was your first experience on this album?
I don't even know how old. My mom loves Neil Young, so I grew up listening to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I must have been, really remembering listening to this album maybe about 7 or 8.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love it.
Well, fucking A.
Well, that's awesome, okay, so for those who don't know, Tasha is our good friend.
Indeed.
And she is our resident hippie. I think she'd agree.
Yes, definitely.
So anything 60s, 70s-ish, I would like to get her on for every album in that kind of era.
And I'm down, cause that's my jam.
Fucking A.
There you go. So you might hear more of Tasha, but as of right now, we're moving on to the Heart of Gold.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Tosh? Since you just joined us, what do you think about that song?
I feel like it's one of his more well-known songs from this album.
Definitely.
It's beautiful.
And
I like, it's Heart of Gold. I was thinking about it earlier. I like that he says, I've been to Hollywood, I've been to Redwood, the gold rush and everything, in California.
Right.
And he references California. I really like that.
But as the song as a whole, what does it mean? What is he trying to say with this song?
Searching for love, basically. And he's getting tired of waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Andrew, what do you think?
Well, I mean, okay, so, he did some of this recording in, fucking Redwood City, California, right? So, this is part of his part of his backyard anyway, an area that he's familiar with. But, I don't know, I kind of interpreted it, a little bit different, not necessarily that he's looking for the love of his life, but he's also, that's maybe a part of it, but I also kind of interpreted this as, he's cold, and he knows he's cold, and he's looking for, he's looking for his own heart. He's trying to learn how to express himself and how to give love, not just necessarily looking for somebody to love, but also looking to learn how to love. That's kind of how I interpreted it. Though I usually get these things wrong, so.
I don't think it's really about getting it right or wrong. It's how you interpret the song, what it means to you.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Okay. This did have James Taylor and Linda Rodstell as they did a lot of the backup vocals for this song. Right. And I think James did a lot of the backup guitars, and I think she did something else as well. But this song for me, I felt like for me it was like him looking for the perfect person. Okay. And when he can't find the perfect person, he's either gonna be lonely or he's gonna settle.
Okay.
So he's mining for that heart of gold, but like, I don't know, it's like what I think of is, like when Aristotle was looking for the North Pole, like the true North. It's something that can't be found.
Okay.
Like you're always searching for the true North, but it's not that you're never gonna find it. And I feel like that's what he's like, I want to find the perfect woman, but there's not gonna be a perfect woman because nobody's perfect.
Well, and I mean, finding the perfect person, it also requires growth on an individual level with yourself too, right? So you have to, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a natural compatibility between people. There's a natural chemistry that happens between people, but no two people are ever gonna be exactly perfect right off the bat forever. Like, it's gonna take, people change over time. If you think about who you were 10 years ago, I mean, you were a different person.
But again, I feel like, I think this is a young man's like pursuit, like he wants to find the perfect person.
But I think he also wants to find his perfect self as well. Like, that's how, or at least that's where I went with it too. Cause he's like, it's these expressions I never give. So I think,
yeah.
I think there's just, I think it's not just about the other person. I think it's also about self. But, again, it's open to, personal interpretation, right? So.
Anything else you want to talk about? Heart of Gold? No? Alright, let's move on to, are you ready for the country?
Yeah, I will say, I will say, before we move on, I will say, if you've ever heard a Neil Young song, it's probably either Heart of Gold or Old Man. And both of them are on this album.
Yeah.
Yes,
both
it is.
Both of them are on this album.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like I mentioned, this did get, this was the number one song of 1972. Right. Yeah.
Hugely.
It stayed 2 weeks.
Hugely popular song.
Yeah, Heart of Gold was super big popular song, yes.
Also James Taylor played the banjo on this one.
Oh, he played the banjo too? Oh, I know he was the backup music, or the backup vocals, but I know, I said auxiliary.
I wasn't trying to be condescending. I was just adding a little snippet. The backup vocals in this are fucking great, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Alright. So, again, moving on to, are you ready for the country? Tasha, what do you think about this song?
It's fun.
Okay.
I like the beat. I like the melody.
Yeah.
For sure. I like that it sounds country, but it's Neil Young country.
For sure.
Canadian country.
Canadian country. Definitely Canadian.
Also, Neil Young is Canadian.
Canadian hippie country music. Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I agree. I think the melody here is fun. This is probably one of the simpler songs lyrically on the album. It's not quite as deep as some of the other songs get. He's just talking about, let's, fucking go. Like,
what is he talking about?
What is he talking
Honestly, I think he's talking about death. I mean, he straight up says he was talking to the preacher, said God was on my side, ran into the hangman, said it's time to die. Gotta tell your story. You know the reason why. Are you ready for the country? I mean, when at the end of Old Yeller, they took him out into the country and put him down, right? Like, I think this is about going out into the country and you know,
being put to
I
pasture.
think this is about going out to pasture. Maybe not being murdered, but dying, yeah.
The two U's definitely, picked up, yeah, no, together y'all pieced out, yeah, no, that's what I thought, was he was on death row.
Yeah.
That he's gonna die. And then, cause they even talk about playing dominoes. Cause like, that's what people in jail do. And then like, he said, something about like you said, the pastor's on my side, the hangman says I'll see you soon, or it's time to die. And then, you gotta tell your story. And I feel like that's like, hey man, you need to confess all of your sins.
Right.
You need to tell your story before you go to the country, or like Tasha stole my shit and said, be put out to pasture.
But again, the melody's so fun, so it makes it so much, the music is so much more lighthearted, and it makes it seem so much less serious.
For sure. And it's a very lighthearted song about being hung by the neck until you die. Just a good old fun song about being hanged.
Till your feet stop twitching.
Yeah, doing the devil's dance.
Good song though.
Yeah,
it's
fun. A good song. I really liked it. Too. I like everything that he did in this song is fun.
For sure.
Anyway, so let's go on to Old Man.
Old Man. This is the other song you've probably heard.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Well, I think
what do you think?
I mean, between Heart of Gold and Old Man, those are obviously the two songs I've heard the most as well. I think those are two of my dad's favorite songs. I mean, he literally grew up with this music, right? Like, he was around when this came out, coming back from Vietnam and shit. So I don't know. This has just always been a song I've really enjoyed. I really like some of the finger picking he does here. That's something, that's a style of guitar playing he carries throughout, but it's especially noticeable here and in a couple of other songs. And so it's pretty. It's a pretty song. And yeah, I don't think I've ever really read into what the lyrics are, so I'm not even going to try and decipher it. But yeah, that's me. Great song.
Alright, Tosh, what do you think of this song?
It makes me feel things deep in my soul.
Why is that?
I feel like it's like introspection.
In what ways?
Maybe in a way, like an older man looking at himself, speaking to himself, or if he could speak to the younger version of himself, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like he's speaking to a projection of himself.
Okay.
Like a young man seeing himself in the future, and then like, look at my life. Do you have any advice for what you are now to what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm a lot like you were. But I've grown and I've changed.
Yeah. Do y'all happen to know the story behind this song?
Nope.
I do not.
So Neil Young got like really rich really quick.
Right.
So he was like stupid rich by the time he was 24. And he bought this giant ranch. And in the ranch there was a groundskeeper. And and he hung out with the groundskeeper every now and again doing stuff. And so he wrote that song for him. Because he was an old man taking care of the whole ranch.
Okay.
So he'd like ride around and he'd like, the old man would show him the property and show him like, okay, I'm doing this and that kind of stuff. And old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were.
Okay.
Yeah. So he wrote this song for that old groundskeeper.
That's really cool.
And
when you were doing research and you told me about how he was like all hurt and physically fucked up and shit, did it tell you, like what kind of accident? Like, did he fall off a horse? Because that would be awesome. I mean, it's not, but
No, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I know he fucked up his vertebrae and his sides were fucked up, so he couldn't like play guitar.
Are you talking about Man Needs a Maid?
No, just
No.
While
Neil Young was writing this album,
Yeah.
he was like physically, like he had surgery on his like back.
he like slipped
and like he couldn't like play guitar. So
No,
that's
but isn't that when he wrote Man Needs a Maid? When he actually needed a maid at the time, but then it has deeper meaning.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
but I'm like going back. So
was it?
I think so.
If you know the story, tell it.
I don't know the story. I'm just guessing.
I thought he was just being misogynistic.
Oh, and then I also kind of like Maid Marian, like he needs a maid, like a maiden.
A maiden.
Yes.
okay. I mean, Shane and I both thought he was, I mean, I do think that he needed somebody to fucking help him while he was all fucked up. But,
yeah, cause he says, when will I see you again?
I thought that was like, he had like a bad breakup and like he was just rescinding because he needs a maid. Like someone to clean the floors and like...
No, I don't know, that's how I saw it. But I'm going backwards, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Back. So
You weren't here!
Say it, Tess.
no, don't be sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we both kind of took it, I read into it a little more misogynistically
I thought it was
than
like
that.
super misogynistic.
Yeah, no, of course.
Jinx.
I feel like many times I heard it before, I was like, ugh, dude, what's the problem?
I thought it was just kind of a song of its time,
then really
you know,
listening.
like this is, you know, it's a little bit, I mean, he's totally a hippie, right? But like, women still aren't considered like equal in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, but it's Neil Young, and he's not an asshole like that.
Yeah, that's true. And he's Canadian. And they
they're like the nicest people.
Yeah, women had rights like a long time ago.
Well, I mean, you know how the name Canada was chosen, right? They took a bag of random letters and picked them out one by one and went, oh, C-A-N-A-D-A, Canada. All right, I'll stop.
I love that you're just cracking up at yourself right now.
I do that.
Anyway,
moving on.
We were talking about Old Man, right? Yeah, for sure. I love this song. I feel like Neil Young is looking at this old man. He has this huge mansion with no one to fill it with. He's looking at this old man, like, I have all of this and you're still doing this, but, I have no one to fill it, anyway, long story short, Old Man's a fucking great song.
It is.
Great song. One of the best on the album.
Sure.
Moving on to There's a World.
This is, our second introduction to the, London Symphony Orchestra.
Hold on. Tasha?
When I was young and I heard this song, it scared me. And I think it was because of the timpani and the bells. And it's like this, it scared the crap out of me. And then it gets really sweet and lighthearted and then bum, 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 bum. And I'm like, ugh. It scared me when I was a kid.
Oh shit, what the hell's all that noise? No, because it does that.
It's so dark and deep.
Yeah, because the same thing with same thing with A Man Needs a Maid. Like it's just wall of sound out of nowhere.
I think I do think it's really fucking cool that he worked with the London Symphony Orchestra. I'm sure that's not the first time that something like this has been done, but still really fucking cool. Especially because he's North American, you know, he's Canadian and recorded in California and in Nashville. So, you know, they're working with people across the pond, at a time when, you know, British rock is very much a thing. So I thought this was an interesting incorporation into this album.
It's fun. I mean, it's a very pretty song.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is my peak song. Honestly. Like, it's very pretty, but it has no substance for me. Like, I don't know, I don't get what he's talking about. I don't know. It's pretty to be pretty.
Okay.
I don't know. Tasha, what do you think?
I think it's good shit.
Well, it's good shit. You have nothing more about it?
I think if I had more brain power right now and could remember all the lyrics, then I could give you a better, but I can't right now.
Okay. Well, it was...
I don't know what this is about. I just thought it was fun that he had the orchestra in there and that they were such a prominent part of the song. But I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, so.
I don't either. I don't know. It was a lot of kind of off the wall stuff. When I didn't really remember like a lot of it, but anyway.
So we can move.
So let's go ahead and move on to Alabama.
Go ahead.
Oh, those are the lyrics to Alabama. I don't know if you remember it. Anyway, so Alabama. So pretty much what I'm feeling is that he's just talking about the social injustice of segregation and basically the South as a whole, and he's not a fan.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it's referenced in the Leonard Skinner song, but have you guys heard Mississippi Goddamn by Nina Simone?
I can't say that I have.
It was pretty controversial when it came out, because she's a woman singing and talking about, like, horrible things that are happening in Mississippi at the time. And she says Mississippi Goddamn. So when hearing like this song again, it reminded me of that. Like just talking about segregation and injustice.
Okay.
Yeah, cause he also had this song called Southern Man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That he put out, like a couple of years before this happened.
Yeah, that was...
So he's not a fan of...
Yeah.
No,
all of that. Especially being Canadian. And then, like, having to see, like, coming from Canada and coming down here and seeing, like, why are you people acting like this?
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, like, Southern Man's even one of his other big hits, too, right? So, granted, it's not on this album, but yeah, I think that's the message behind it. I also think it's just a musically really good song. This is probably one of the more, rock, focused songs. Like, this is more in the vein of rock than the rest of this album. I think the rest of this album is very much more folk and experimental with the orchestra and stuff, but this song, he starts to get that little bit of overdrive on his amp, and he's really cranking it up.
Yeah, this is pretty rock heavy.
Compared to everything, I mean, compared to like rock and roll, not so much, but compared to the rest of this album, definitely.
Yeah, no, he's very rock heavy on this song. Like, it's very...
Like, the build up into the chorus is,
Well, and even the intro for the guitar here is slightly overdriven. And it's probably all in the amp, where it's the amp breaking up and not like an actual, like, distortion pedal or anything like that, because it's not that heavy. But he's fucking cranked up. Like, he's trying to put his feelings not only in the lyrics, but through his guitar here with the angst, and he's cranking that shit to 11.
You feel it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I mean, you can tell he's not happy with things and stuff. And then that's what led into like a whole bit with like, that's why fucking, what's his, Leonard Skinner came in and they talk shit about him.
I feel like they didn't actually listen to the lyrics, because I feel like it makes them, really thinking about it now, it makes Leonard Skinner seem like a bunch of racist assholes. Like, we don't need you around anyhow. He's talking about bullshit that's happening, and we don't need you around. Confederate flag. Like,
I think that's what Leonard Skinner is about.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, not them, but the people who listen to them,
okay,
for
I'll
sure.
give you that. Like, Leonard Skinner wrote Sweet Home Alabama as a fucking joke.
As a fuck you to Neil Young.
No, it's not even that. Yeah. It wasn't even a fuck you to Neil Young. They wrote the song, like, that line, was a throwaway line. The entire song was written literally as a joke. It wasn't some, like, they've gone into this, and you know, like this is all shit that I've heard from just like watching documentaries and shit. So maybe they're just covering their own asses here. But it's not like some white nationalist song. They literally wrote it as a joke. Well, at least that's the story they tell. But I will agree with Tasha that the people that listen to Leonard Skinner trend towards.
Yeah. I'm not saying they are,
but the people, their main demographic, I will say, does trend towards the South will rise again.
Wow. I love that. Okay, you were referencing the black white black white supremacists.
Yes.
Wow.
I love Dave Chappelle.
Who doesn't?
He really
a treasure.
He is.
Sorry, we totally derailed you, Andrew.
No, it's all good. I just thought it was funny because, like, I don't know, the pot shot at Neil Young, everybody thinks they had like this big feud, and from what I've heard, from both sides, it was just more of a like, there's no feud there. It's just, it was a joke and people took it seriously and they shouldn't have. But then again, who knows? Maybe they're trash and they're just covering their backs in a more socially just time.
Well, from what I read on this song, when Neil Young was talking about it, he was writing it, and of course he's Canadian, so he's gonna apologize. Like, you know what? I went a little too far. I was a little too heavy-handed on this song because he talks about old folks in white old folks in white robes.
Right.
Okay. And like, he references like George Wallace and all that kind of stuff. Like, so he was angry about just, even again with Southern Man, he's just angry about.
Well, and I mean, rightfully so. I mean, the goddamn KKK still exists in some places. Like, you know, it's fucking stupid. It's really goddamn stupid.
It really is.
Like, West Texas is bad, y'all. St. Angelo wasn't so bad, but, I've heard horror stories about like Midland, Odessa. Cause it's.
Odessa? Buyer?
So, yeah. So.
When I was 12 years old, my dad and I, we lived in Louisiana.
Y'all joined the, KKK?
Shame.
We went to one picnic, and all of a sudden, I'm a fucking Klansman. I'm the fucking dragon. I'm the red dragon. Jesus Christ.
Go on.
No, my dad and I were driving down the back roads. And, hey, you want to be the head of the KKK? I said, yes. So I'm Master Dragon or whatever the fuck
it's canon now.
Yeah. I'm the leader of the KKK. Chinga, I'm the leader of the KKK. Harla Chingaso. KKK. Grand Dragon. KKK. KKK. Yes.
Alright, so you were with your dad in Louisiana. Sorry.
We moved on. No, it's fine. No, I'm gonna leave it right there. Yeah, leader of the KKK. KKK. Anyway, so, The Needle and the Damage is Done. And the Needle and Damage Done is the second to last song of this album. And honestly, when I hear the intro to this song, it sounds like, Sweet Adeline from Elliott Smith. And I think that's what Elliott Smith drew from was this.
Okay.
Because it talks about heroin.
It does. It's an incredibly pretty song. This is the other finger-picking heavy song. I mean, they've all got it, but this is where that intro you're talking about is just super, man, it's fucking pretty. This is a gorgeous song.
It breaks your heart.
It does.
It breaks your heart.
But it's fucking gorgeous. I love this song.
Mm-hmm.
Had no idea what any of it meant when I was a kid. But,
no, this is very much an Elliott Smith song. Like, it is so pretty that it hurts.
It really is though, Brack.
And it's all about, cause he wrote this song for, he was in a band called Crazy Horse, and the drummer died ODing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he wrote this about, was the needle and damage done. And a lot of, I mean, this is 1972, so we had all these veterans coming back, fucking super juiced up on heroin, cause they did that shit in Nam, and they're ODing and dying.
Yeah, well he says in the song, I hit the city and I lost my band. Yeah. I watched the needle take another man. Like,
but I mean, this can go, I mean, any goddamn musician really. If you're in music, I mean, you know a dude who died from heroin.
Even today, like, this shit continues on.
Yeah.
You know, fucking opium, man.
Oh no, we call it the opioid crisis.
Right. Fucking opium.
The opioid crisis.
Like it wasn't a big deal when Ray Charles was shooting up all the time, like back in the 40s and shit.
I don't know, Tasha, what do you think?
The last line of the song, but every junkie's like the setting sun.
Uh-huh.
I can't even say it without wanting to burst into tears, because it's the imagery he creates with that metaphor.
Right.
The whole song just shatters my heart into a million
Yeah, for sure.
But it's beautiful, and I want to keep hearing it and listening to it. And Andrew, you're right. Like the picking pattern it's
gorgeous. This for me is the prettiest song on the album. And it's also like the absolute saddest. But it's way up there for me. It's great. It's fucking great. And
I feel like this is the metaphor for heroin. It's the prettiest and most sad thing on the album. And that's the whole point of making that, is that it has to be the prettiest and most depressing thing, because that's what heroin is. It's pretty and fucking awful.
And it's also extremely insightful into like what he personally went through. He speaks in metaphors a lot with his other songs about being lonely and being helpless, being isolated, but this is like, no, I fucking lost a bandmate to this shit, and he's just very straightforward. I mean, he's still poetic about it, but in the same time, he's also extremely straightforward about like, this will fucking kill you. And he does it in the most beautiful way possible. And it's fucking just like, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, lovely song.
I like that you referenced Elliott Smith, because that's Elliott Smith. It's beautiful and tragic. You want to keep listening to it, just like this song. You're right, Shane. I'm saying you're right.
Yes.
Okay.
If you haven't listened to the worst episode we ever recorded, listen to either one.
Wait, why?
Because it was a clusterfuck. It was that whole episode was a clusterfuck.
Recording over Discord like this, or Skype, or whatever the fuck we were using. I think we were using Skype at the time. It sucks.
Long story short, it was very hard to. It was hard to get that episode
I think
done.
we had to record it in 3 parts or something like that. Or we had to come back like the next day or something.
Oh, goodness.
I think it was 4 or 5 parts. Yeah, it took a minute.
Wait, I think I remember
awful.
this.
Because I was all over the house.
Yeah, you were.
God damn it. You know what's fun about recording? When it's a piece of shit album, no problems. When it's a really good album, every goddamn problem in the world.
Slightly better, knock on wood, but it's
it's gotten better.
Like when we did Stitches, no problems.
Stitches, no problem. Dog shit album. Dog shit.
Anyway.
Anyway. Moving on to last song on the album, Words. It is the longest song on the album, because I think it's like 6.5 minutes long. Because it has a lot of musical breaks, and I think it has 2 or 3 different solos. It's amazingly composed, and I feel like every time I hear this song, I think of Macbeth. All the words. Or is that Hamlet? Shit.
Shakespeare something, Shane.
Shit, I think it's Hamlet.
It's okay. Nobody in the audience will know either.
Is it junior high school or senior high school?
It's okay to be wrong.
2 people that listen to this are gonna know it either, so.
But they're gonna bust my balls when they hear it. No, all the people who listen to it, like, Paul? Oh yeah, when I was doing my masters fuck man.
I'm not saying they're not smarter than us, I'm just saying nobody knows what the fuck is going on with Shakespeare, because nobody cares. Maybe that's just me.
You don't care.
I think that might be you, dog.
Sorry.
Much ado about nothing. Anyway.
That was so good.
Anyway, what do you think about Words, Tosh?
I like, just the music part of it, how it's heavy, like a little bit. It's like this driving guitar, like throughout the whole song. Right. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shane.
No, that's about it. Like, it has such a, it's such a composed song. Like, it has so much movement, and, I'm not exactly sure what he's exactly trying to, I think he's just saying words.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, these are words and whatever, but, like, what's really important is the music.
I don't think this is about a story or about, I think you're right. I think he is just words. I think this is a showcase of the band, and that's the point of this song. I'm not sure it's much more than that. I don't know that it goes so deep, but I'm not the lyrics guy, so.
That words can be whatever you want them to be, but here's what really matters is the feeling, and that's why he puts all the music into it. Because this is what I fucking feel. Fuck words.
Right. And this is just a good song that if you want to really get into the Neil Young's band, if you want to listen to these guys, listen to this, because there's some different musical themes that go on here, and there's a lot of instrumental. There's an instrumental intro, there's a break, and there's an outro, which is what makes it so long. This is a band showcase, and this is who we are. It's Neil Young, and what used to be Neil Young and Crazy Horse is now Neil Young and the Neil Young Band, essentially. So here's the band,
Yeah, for sure. I think this is one of the better songs on the album. I love that they're showcasing, especially since he was so, like I mentioned in the beginning, like he couldn't belt out songs and stuff. Like, this is like a real, like, belting out of like him showcasing his talent as far as the guitar goes. Cause he didn't get to do a lot of that throughout the entire album.
Alright.
I think that's a fun thing.
I'll go with that. No, I can get behind that for sure.
Alright, well, Tasha, anything you want to say?
No, I have an assignment.
Okay. Well,
okay, well then, I mean, let's get on with our other stuff. That's, cause that finishes out the album. So I don't know. Let's do a top 3. Shane, why don't you start us out here? What are your top 3?
I will start out here, sir. I will start us out. I'm gonna go with my number 1 has to be my number 3. My number 3 is going to be Heart of Gold. Because I like, it almost sounds like a Bill Withers song. But man, you throw that harmonica in there too. Like, it's so good, and then just the idea of this man searching for something that doesn't exist.
I got
you. You know what I mean? I like that idea. Number 2, I'm gonna go with, Needle and Damage Done. I like a good, sappy fucking heroin song. I like Elliott Smith. I like fucking, I don't know, I like that sappy shit. And, number 1 is gonna be Old Man. Old Man, I love this song. I think it's the best song on the album. I think that, I don't know. You know, honestly, what I really think is that these are the 3 songs my Uncle Fred played for us. So I have hard nostalgia for all 3 of these songs because I didn't know any of these songs. I didn't know any of these songs until I listened to this album, and I realized that those are the 3 songs my Uncle Fred played all the time. I didn't know it was Neil Young or anything like that, so yeah. Only, those are my top 3 because of Dirty Fred.
Man. Fucking respectable. Tasha, you want to go next or do you want to go last?
Alright, Lily, what's your top 3?
Okay, what are your top 3, babe?
You do you, girl.
Okay. 3 I pick Out on the Weekend.
Okay. Why is that?
I relate to the lyrics. Like, so when he says, the woman I'm thinking of, she loved me all up, but I'm so down today.
Okay.
She's so fine, she's in my mind. I hear her calling. I feel it on different levels.
What is that?
The more obvious one, like somebody is giving you, but I'm down, like I have to fix what's within myself. Like, she loves me, but I'm so down today.
Okay.
That's what it means to me anyway. So.
For sure.
And then, Old Man.
Yeah.
And like even more so now that I know like why he wrote the song, just makes me love Neil Young even more.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. Number 1 is Needle on the Damage Done.
Needle and Damage Done.
Because I love those songs that are so beautiful and they make me feel like shit, but I love them.
Yeah, you're like me. You like the tragic, terrible shit.
Yeah.
For sure.
My girl. Clink. Alright, Bubby. What's your,
I've got similarities to both of you here, except, so with Shane, I'm going straight nostalgia on the 3 songs that I'm most familiar with, from my childhood, but they're in a different order. So I'm gonna say that Old Man is my number 3. It's my number 3.
Old Man's your number 3?
Listen.
You're a Destiny can opener.
I get that. I know why you're saying that. And before listening to this album again, before revisiting this album, Old Man probably would have been number 2. But re-listening to this album, I'll explain it with my number 1. Number 2 is Heart of Gold. And before re-listening to this album probably would have been my number 1. Again, straight nostalgia for these 2 songs. And for the third, for my number 1 as well. Number 1 is Needle and the Damage Done, so that's where I'm similar with Tasha. Re-listening to this album, I had heard this song as a kid, but never really understood. But I always thought it was a pretty song, and to me, this is the prettiest song on the album. And
yeah, I agree.
So when I re-listened to this album, this became my favorite song listening to it today. Well, not today, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, at this age, I should say. Whereas previously I probably would have put this at number 3 and then Old Man and Heart of Gold, because those are the 3 songs that I remember from being a kid. And Heart of Gold I always thought was amazing, and I still do. Same with Old Man. So those are my top 3 and the reasons why. So Shane, how do you rate this album? 1 to 10. I'm not going to do a weird funky scale, just straight 1 to 10.
1 to 10? Yeah. Okay. Well, shit. I'm gonna give this a solid 8.
Fucking egg.
Solid 8. No,
Fucking
you know,
egg,
solid 8. Solid 8. Cause I damn sure gave Elton John
Pretty
damn
much.
near a 10. And I think Off the Wall got like an 8. I got damn near a 9.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll give this an 8. I'll give this 8.
Okay.
8.5? For sure. 8.5.
So when,
for sure.
When I was listening to this album, I was thinking about your reaction to it because I wasn't sure if you had heard any of these songs or not. You had alluded before going into this that you weren't familiar with this at all. So I wasn't sure if you had heard any of these songs or not. So I'm a little bit surprised you're so high, but I think the Uncle Fred nostalgia probably played into that a little bit. Yeah.
Hard. Real hard. I didn't realize that all of the Neil Young songs I know is from Uncle Fred. So that leans real hard to the right. Yeah.
Okay. Tasha, 1 to 10.
Tasha, 1 to 10.
Give me a 10 because I love Neil Young, and he reminds me of my mom. He's absolutely amazing.
Like the best album you ever heard is...
Oh, go off feeling shame. There will be other 10s, and maybe 7s. Never below a 7.
Well, you haven't listened to Stitches.
You have not heard Stitches.
What is Stitches? Wait, what's Stitches? No, I was talking about other things. What is Stitches?
Stitches is a solid 0.
Oh.
But what is it?
He's a rapper
an
from
enigma,
Miami.
is what he is.
The hell?
I'll inform you about Stitches.
Yeah.
Oh god, what was it?
Pavement.
What's the fucking shitty?
Yeah.
Pavement. Yes,
Pavement. Oh.
Or Pavement.
That was a little painful.
Yeah.
That was a little painful.
You don't know about it. Okay.
Anyway.
This is way too high. You don't know.
But I can appreciate her opinion on this, especially with the nostalgia with her mom and stuff.
Well, I mean, we called her in as the resident.
Yeah.
Neil Young fan.
The resident hippie. She's gonna be like 1,000% Neil Young fan. Yes, well.
Yeah.
So I get it. I don't know. And that's fucking fun.
It is.
It's good. It's a great album. It's better than fucking John Lennon.
Yeah, by a bunch.
Imagine.
I don't even know if I've ever listened to the whole
It's not great.
album of Imagine.
It's okay.
I was more of just Beatles, you know what I mean? Like
They're
well, we have a lot of Beatles to go through, so we have a lot.
Super excited.
The Beatles as a whole is better than any of those guys.
Can be on this show
solo, except maybe Paul McCartney. But or George,
no, Paul's great too, but George was just George was the best Beatle.
Still, the Beatles as a group still like
it's okay.
The Beatles, you know,
the best.
Outside of George Harrison's fucking live from India or whatever the fuck it was, where he fucking anyway. Andrew, how would you rate this album? From a scale of 1 to 10.
I'm right there with you at an 8.
This album?
Yeah.
8?
Nostalgia factor is huge here. There's a couple of songs that I don't really connect with. A couple of songs that aren't really terribly memorable to me. But all in all, I would listen to this album without hesitation, over and over again. There was nothing about this was a grind to me, or difficult to listen to.
Yeah.
And part of that is the huge nostalgia of growing up with my dad being a Neil Young fan, and so this just being ingrained in part of who I am. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Solid 8.
So, of all the songs that you had in your top 3, was there something that your dad played differently that you didn't rank in the top 3? Or was the songs your dad played the top 3?
Yeah, but I mean that's the stuff that like the top 3 were the songs that I've heard the most, for sure. As far as like playing this stuff, probably Heart of Gold was, if my dad was gonna learn any of these songs on the guitar, it was Heart of Gold. And I've probably played that song with him. That and An Old Man, those 2 songs. The 2 uber popular ones are gonna be the ones that we would have like learned on the guitar together. Not sure if we did anything else other than those 2, but I for sure know that I've learned to play both of those songs on the guitar before. Couldn't do it off the top of my head, or by memory or anything like that. But those 2 songs definitely. Needle and the Damage Done is something I remember hearing as a kid. I don't remember him playing it on the guitar or anything like that, but it's a song that sounded very familiar to me, and I just fell in love with it on re-listening to this album. I absolutely fell in love with that song.
Yeah, me too. I remember hearing it as a child and feeling sad, but not really paying attention to the lyrics as much, you know what I mean? But having that feeling of sadness when I heard the song.
Sure. I don't remember any feelings associated with the song. I just remember hearing it. But definitely re-listening to it, it's just like, holy shit. This moved me in a different way this time around. So, anyway.
Well, anything else you guys got to say about this album?
I love you both and thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you for being on. I was talking shit earlier on this episode, but I'm glad you're here. I rescind all the things I said earlier.
Definitely thank you for coming on, Tasha. I know I only ever get to talk to you once in a blue moon when I'm on the phone with Shane, but it's always fun to reconnect with you, and I'm glad that you got to come on for one of our most hippie albums that are going to be on this list. So, fuck yeah,
always down for hippie albums.
There's going to be a couple.
All right.
Patti Smith.
Patti Smith. Okay.
She's up there.
Somewhere.
No. So, Andrew, anything else you got to say? Alright, well, if nothing else, then,
sure.
Andrew,
thanks for listening, everybody. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts, especially the terrible ones, because we know where our audio quality sits. iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, sadpandapresents.com, facebook.com/sadpandapresents. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Hit us up if you want to check out an album. Facebook's probably the best place to contact us. Make a suggestion. We've got a couple in the chamber that we need to get through, but we'll get to it. Next time we will be talking about something. We haven't really talked about what we're gonna go into our next break with, but it's gonna be something. Yeah. So we'll figure that out, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. So thanks for listening, Tasha. Thank you again for being on this episode. And
thank you both.
Oh, thank you. You're such a sweetheart.
I could say the same.
Oh, he was.
I was talking shit because you weren't here.
Okay.
How about? All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening.
I'm Andrew.
Goodbye.